Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha's here. Butler, not here. Still on vacation.
When did
I
that
don't
guy
even
get
know
back?
I don't even know what that means anymore.
I think he's coming back tomorrow.
Now, does he have to quarantine?
That's what I asked.
No. We're
open, baby.
That's
Makes me feel better.
I think they have no corona in St. Lucia. That's what
No,
I heard.
that's what I heard too.
They don't like the sun.
No,
They all
it's
just
the
fade
sun.
away.
The sun.
melt it.
One day
Yeah.
we'll all wake up and this thing will just disappear. But only if you're drinking your bleach.
So I love adventure. I love a good
You like great feats.
feat of
That's
string.
Yeah, that is
feats.
why we originally got this email. Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
great feet, girl. That's what this bit's called.
OnlyFans,
I
great
like
feats.
challenges where people challenge themselves
Right,
to
endurance challenge.
You don't like-
endurances.
You
yeah.
never get inspired yourself, but you like it when other people are inspired. Maybe they watch a movie or see somebody that does a great thing and they say, you know what, maybe I can do something that's equally just as great.
I kind of live vicariously through them because doing it yourself is too hard.
It is very
and I'm
hard.
too lazy to do
Yes.
it myself.
Now you're talking.
But I respect the people that do this, but also question if it's really that good at the end too, which that's what makes me constantly talk to these people because they always got another adventure planned.
Yeah.
Right.
And their last adventure doesn't matter because
That's
planning
not
that
what I
On to the
want, though.
next.
Now we're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
we're gonna pull our guest up. He's actually, again, it's my favorite thing now that we do a video show. My favorite thing is that the guest will sit in the bottom left-hand corner of our video
As we talk about
as
them.
we talk about them, and then you, as the viewer, get to watch how uncomfortable their eyes. I'm surprised nobody has just held up a piece of paper yet, and then they've revealed themselves.
Uh-huh.
But we do have a guest that has done an adventure that you're very similar to what you're describing. You have the opportunity to pick this guy's brains. I'm going to pull him up now.
It's a quest.
Yeah,
I
this-
love quests.
This is Gary Quest.
Uh-huh. How you doing, Gary?
Hey, Dan, doing well. Thanks so much for having me on. I really
only-
appreciate being on.
Only said
I've
hi to
listened to
Dan.
y'all for a number of years.
Yeah, well, fellow questers only talk to other
Right.
questers.
Oh, come on.
You know.
No, Gary knows. So
Tom's right. The only quest I go into is for blood tests. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that, and that's only if LabCorp's because LabCorp opens 1 hour earlier.
Gary, how you doing, by the way?
I'm doing really well.
So, didn't need to ask that. That's
No.
totally stupid.
You know what? I'm glad you started with a hard-hitting question.
What if he was doing terrible? Then what?
No one ever says that.
No, they don't.
Nobody does say that.
Except Total.
And
So,
how could you be
Then we're
doing
like, we know. What should I ask you?
Yeah, how could you be terrible and look like Gary? Gary
Yeah,
looks
yeah,
like
yeah.
a happy guy.
So, Gary, tell us about your quest and how it started.
Well, it started with I've been bike packing for a number of years here in the state of Florida. So bike packing, for those who don't know, essentially it's like backpacking, but instead of hiking and carrying the gear in a backpack, you put all the gear on your bike. So you load your gear on the bike with different packs, and then you bike a course based on some GPS coordinates. And I've done that for a few years here in the state of Florida.
Now,
Done the Cross Florida individual time trial. So from New Smyrna Beach over to Crystal River.
oh, really?
did it-
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
Okay.
so this is a thing just like hiking or camping or anything. Like people get into it, and then I'm sure there's enthusiasts and there are Reddit pages and there's Facebook pages and all about
It's a
bike
whole
packing.
community, yeah.
Yeah. Is that true?
Absolutely. It's a real cool group of individuals. You can, go through a course as fast as you want or as slow as you want. You go as teams, groups. It's a real cool community to be involved in.
Well, you're using an interesting word because I wouldn't put cool as the moniker because there's all these guys, and
it's
you
cool to
know,
him,
Gary.
you know.
Well, they're all just they're different. Okay, there's a bunch of different nerds.
Do you mean
there's
cool as in like people look at it and immediately go, that's cool?
Well, the type of individual you have to be to do this and to get into it, you're eventually a nerd of some category, and these are adventure nerds,
like bike nerds,
or
too.
outdoor
Fitness nerds.
fitness nerds, or mountain bike nerds. You're always a nerd of whatever you're into, to a point where you have a.
I'm a porn nerd.
yeah, like a plant nerd. I'm gonna get like a marijuana and plant nerd. There's
Okay.
all types of
right.
nerds.
Boy, we're the lowest two nerds.
So, Now, what are some of the trails that people would know about? Because I imagine you can't just freely camp on any trail. There's different regulations and there's lots of trails that you can't camp on. So I'm sure
private property, right?
Yeah. How does that work?
Sure. So here in the state of Florida, there's a few different individuals who put together courses, and then they secure the permitting, allowing us to, traverse through those different parks and areas during a certain time. Right now with COVID, the way they've restructured the events and the races is they do like an on your own edition. So for the entire month of March, you could do a race. So you can go out any weekend, anytime. You record the event on your GPS device and then report that to the race organizer at the end. So that's how we kind of
that's pretty
get
cool.
around those different regulations.
Yeah, that way you don't have to start and stop with everybody else, and you can also be safe and distance yourself. That's kind of neat.
So,
and the GPS, I guess, wouldn't lie. There's really no way to cheat it because it's a start and stop deal.
Oh, you could cheat it. I thought of 10 ways right now. Like I'd put my GPS tracker on some sort of electric bike and not, it doesn't have to be human power. Then and I'm the fastest.
Does that sound fun to you? Like you're just like,
well, cheating is always fun, Tom.
Yeah, it's only about Tom Van
he really came at that fast, didn't he?
And then the other people on Reddit are like, this guy cheated. I looked at his Facebook. He's no athlete. He's a fat turd. But no, wait.
Fat turd.
He cheated.
He's a fat turd.
So
Gary, is a cheat nerd?
Yes, they're cheating nerds.
Yeah.
So
and they're fat turds.
Gary, I imagine that
Gary's like me. You hear the phrase "fat turd," you crack up.
Well, I'll explain where I imagine the nerd part comes into this, because there's also survivalists and camping nerds that really nerd out about getting their pack and their equipment down
hyper-organized
and efficient.
You're like a chopper, meaning they take everything that's not useful off of the backpack.
Yes, because it's all a weight game, especially in everything.
Especially if you're a fat turd.
It's
all a weight game.
It's all about, if you're going to have to bring all your food and camping equipment, you want to get it down to the smallest amount possible. So how long did that take you, Gary, where you figured out exactly what you need for a trip? No frills, you take out comfort stuff and creature comforts and stuff.
I don't even know what to pack just to go on vacation.
Yeah. So how did that process go?
Yeah, so definitely a process, learning by doing, and then also some of the websites, people have incredible lists of what to bring, recommendations, talking to other people who do the sport, learning from them. And a lot of folks will bring a lot of stuff. Like you can bring an actual tent. They make special lightweight tents to attach to your bike. That way, 3 to 5 pounds. And then you get to your, night camp spot and you set up your tent and then you roll out the next day. I don't generally bring a tent. My bike is a little bit unusual. It's a little bit bigger than other bikes. So it's a little bit heavier. So
I don't know if you know this, Tom, but Gary is 7'8". and he has to ride a specialized bike where his tires are 72 inches.
Oh my God!
Like he's no. In all seriousness, you're a big guy, right?
Yeah, I'm 6'7", so I have a custom 36er mountain bike. The standard is 29 inch, so my wheels are 36 inches each, 3 feet. So my entire bike is like 7 feet wide.
Oh my God!
My God!
So
it's your shelter? You use your bike as your shelter?
Big Mambo bike.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. So it's great for me because it's something I finally fit in, It'll be like, someone else out there riding a BMX bike through one of these events.
The amount of calories and the amount of calories you must burn as a giant doing this.
Well, I think, for people that don't camp, they see westerns and cowboy movies of people just
where you just lean up against a tree, put your hat over your eyes.
They see cowboys in the desert and
put your gun in your hand.
And they sleep with their saddle as their pillow and their hat over their face, and then they wake up in the morning, kick the fire out, and keep going. But
you tie your horse to a cactus.
What they don't realize, that's the desert. We live in the GD swamp. If we wake up in the morning, you
be ate alive by bugs.
Yeah, so you sleep without a tent. Just the morning dew will completely cover. I remember
I love Mountain Dew. I drink it every morning.
one of my drunk buddies fell asleep like by the fire and slept all night when we used to do the camping trip and woke up he's drenched because of the amount of dew in the morning. And then he's like, yeah, like you can't just sleep outside or you have to be fine with waking up like drenched and cold as hell. How do you do it?
So I ride as far as I can until I'm exhausted, and then I sleep for a couple hours. Basically, one of those little emergency ponchos. And I can show you a little tour later, show you the bike, show you my gear, and just sleep for a few hours. I've slept in the Croom Forest, Tom, where you used to go through there with your four-wheeling buddies.
Could you smell Tom's vape pens from a mile away?
My God, how do you ride a bike through that soft-ass sand?
You hope for rain. You hope for rain the day before to pack it down a little bit.
Also, talk about climbing. The guy's 6'8". I mean, I feel like I think you push your pedal down one time and you go 4 miles.
You're just riding a endless amount of whoop-de-doos on a mountain bike. I get tired of riding that on my four-wheeler. You know what I'm saying?
The next step for me is to try and get a mountain bike with my family.
So Gary, we're talking. You're not camping and enjoying the experience. You're just resting to recharge your human
Gary
battery.
What Gary does.
So
that's my preference. That's my preference. And that helps me sleep because I've tried to camp before and I'm ready to keep riding. I feel like I'm wasting time if I'm not moving. But other guys, they'll ride together in a big group. They'll set up a camp. They'll bring their drinks and they'll hang out and have a big campfire. And they kind of do their own style.
But you're all business. You're 6'8", Big D Gary. I know what you are. You go out there and you're running for the time.
So, this is not for fun. This is more for challenge. I mean, I'm sure it's fun to you, but you are doing it to compete.
I want to push my limit, see how far I can go, while I still can before,
How old are you?
Father Time catches up to me.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
48.
48. Oh, you look great. My God. Good living.
Well, that's what happens when you are riding 300 miles.
That's what happens when you Zoom with an athlete. You're like, oh, wow, you look amazing, Gary.
So, Gary, I also imagine that what the rest of us think of camping, we're thinking of bringing pots and pans to cook our eggy bakey in the morning.
I bring full bags of pre-cooked pasta, and I do an Italian buffet.
Yeah. We're like, I remember the Grizz one time bought a brick
oven. He brought an oven. Yes, I was
like a camping oven to cook.
He made brownies, Tom. He made brownies.
Some ridiculous garbage.
I was on this trip. He also made pizzas.
So imagine, Gary, you are eating calories and nutrition in bar form, and you're not cooking an eggy breakfast because that's too much work and way too many stuff to bring, right? Yeah.
So you try to bring food on the bike. You're also allowed, depending on rules and the course, that you can stop and procure food. You just can't preset drop points for yourself. But say you're going through a rural part of Florida, you can hit the kangaroo, the chevron, the shell. So sometimes in there you get those delicious sandwiches.
That's a neat
You can go to one kangaroo.
Yeah, I like that. You get to swing through. You get a cheese stick and a Bahama Mama, so you ensure that you have straight diarrhea on your cycling shorts. You're eating a bright pink Bahama Mama sausage, and you're also eating a small bag of Flamin' Hot Funyuns.
That food is so good after you've been eating bars all day.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, but it doesn't give you. Don't you poop your cycling pants?
No, because Gary, he's 6'7". His torso's so long, it takes him an hour just to get it through its small intestine.
Yeah, but you know what happens when athletes eat kangaroo garbage? They poop their pants because they're eating lean protein bars for 2 days, and then you eat some Bahama Mama pink sausage.
What did I eat the other day? I ate a Slim Jim. I ate a 2-foot-long Slim Jim in here that I found in the closet, and it really screwed me up bad.
Yeah. So it seems like as an athlete, Gary, you'd be hindered by the kangaroo.
The body needs the calories. When you're just burning calories, so that kind of food, your body just soaks it up. The fat turns it instantly to energy. And there's not too much pooping because your body's using everything up.
That's true.
So, Gary, what's the longest trail? And then we'll look at some of your equipment. But like in Florida, like you know how like the Appalachian Trail or whatever, it actually runs like through state, some enormous amount of distance. Do they have anything like that in Florida where there's trail systems that we don't know about that go from like Tallahassee down to Miami or something? Like I know that every once in a while you have to cross OBT or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you have to like go
that's when
through.
it breaks. Like
Sure.
that's where you have
Yeah.
to suspend disbelief almost.
Yeah.
It's like you're in the middle of like this wilderness in a swamp, and then you have to go like over a tiny bridge over a vape store, and then down. Then
Yeah.
you're back in the woods again.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
weird
yeah,
how
yeah.
you drop in and out.
How does that work?
Yeah, so there's 3 main courses in Florida. There's what's called the CFIT Cross Florida Individual Time Trial that goes across the state from New Smyrna to Crystal River. Then there's what's called the Hurricane Route. It's a huge loop about 350 miles through Central Florida. So you're going by Lake Apopka, Claremont, Sanford, all the way
Ooh,
over
but that's cool.
through Brooksville. And then there's what's called the Florida Divide. And the Florida Divide, there's a couple different routes, but one route just comes straight down the spine of Florida from Georgia to the Everglades. So that's the short version. You could go from Georgia all the way down to Key West, mile 0. And then they've designed one that starts at the Alabama border in the Panhandle, goes across the Panhandle, and then down, and you can take that to the Everglades or down to mile 0.
Wow.
The Alabama one's fun too because the start of that one's terrifying because you just have racists chasing you out of the state. It's awesome. Fast. So you got to get going real fast through Georgia.
So
Lots of speed traps.
let's talk about a recent one that you did. How long was it, and where was the route?
All right, so I just did that hurricane course back in February. So it's 350 miles through Central Florida, big loop.
Jesus.
I've done it a couple of times. It was great. We kind of had to deal with a little bit of weather. There was a tornado warning the morning I was getting ready to start. So I kind of had to wait for that to pass through.
Tornado
And
morning.
then,
I would've
yeah, it was
gave
pretty
up.
wild. And then rolled out and did the big loop in about 36 hours, I think.
So you did
My God.
So you
Slept a couple
did
times.
350 miles
In 36 hours.
in 36 hours.
That's like driving from Orlando to like Key Largo because Miami's only 290. So you add 40 more miles, like you're getting down to at least Homestead or whatever. Like that's a tremendous amount of mileage on a mountain bike.
I mean, that's a lot
And
of.
that's the course that I know. So I'm familiar with it. It's Florida, so it's relatively flat. I could do about 200 miles in 20 hours nonstop is kind of my limit. Then I have to crash.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
I can really
God.
get out.
What's the
and,
terrain like? Are you mostly just in the saddle for that? Are you having to huff it up hills and stuff?
Yeah, it's
Like-
just all sand and pine scrub. I mean, my God, like Florida wilderness, like you're in Colorado, like you hit some mountains, like it'd be a pain in the ass going up, but
Oh,
then
you
down
could
is
go
good.
down, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we
Yeah.
get nothing.
We're at a flat.
Yeah, so Croom, Ocala National Forest, going through there, rolling hills, sand. Then there's some single track, and it's also there's parts of paved path where you have to connect pieces together. And then the biggest hills here in Florida are those ones out in Claremont. You guys might be familiar with those. It's a huge the road bikers go out there a lot to train.
Yeah, we
for
did
their
that a
road
couple
biking.
of weeks ago with my daughter, and that was a lot of fun. But it became very. I mean, you would have to be of a certain age to do it because she's good on a bike. But even she was like up one hill, and she's like, "Gotta take a break, man. It's
Yeah,
tough.
yeah, yeah.
It's hard."
Yeah.
So
And then if we're talking, go ahead, Tom. I'll say if we're talking greatest feats, it would be the Trans North Georgia Adventure that I did back in August. So that's 355 miles across the northern Georgia mountains. So there, day one, I could only do 80 miles. In Florida, I'm doing 200 to compare it with this Georgia
Right.
course. I got 80 in, and I had to crash out.
Wow.
So
And that was just constant up, down, just killing you with the relentless, never-ending
On
climbs
that
and
80
steep climbs, steep descents.
Gary, on that 80, could you tell the difference in how your body was taking it? Like when you said you had to crash out, was it one of those things where to go back to what you were saying, where you were actually pushing your limits?
Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping to make 100 miles that first day, and I couldn't even get that done. So I was a little disappointed, but I knew I had to rest and sleep for
You're
a couple
probably
hours
excited
in the woods
too,
in
right?
my emergency blanket.
Yeah, I can only imagine you'd be excited too. And what sucks about that is sometimes that can eat into your stamina a bit.
So, Gary, let's talk about the motivation behind this because it's seemingly all personal motivation.
It's
There's no
very intimate.
monetary. In fact, you're probably spending money doing this, taking time off work, and like this is costing you money. So there's nothing monetary. This is all just personal achievement, goals you set for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of at a stage in my life where I'm just really trying to challenge myself physically and mentally. push those boundaries, see what I can do. And that's like a big draw to me. And then getting those accomplishments. And like that TNGA course in Georgia, only about half the people that start finish. It's a brutal, brutal course. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see, there's an actual documentary on Amazon Prime about it.
Yeah, you send us
Ride to Extraordinary. Sam?
I watched the trailer. And it's pretty intense. I sent it to you, Dan. I don't know if you guys want to watch it, but
Do you want to watch the trailer?
Oh, yeah.
Or at least a little bit of it.
I can fire it up at least so you'll get it.
It's very dramatic.
Give me a second to make sure I have everything ready to go.
Yeah, so watching that trailer, then watching the documentary, that really inspired me to go and try that super hard course. I'd done, a number of courses in Florida. So it was a new challenge, see if I could do what so many people were having trouble finishing.
All right, you want to see a little bit of this?
Yes.
See, I would have watched this trailer and I would have been like, I could never do this.
Here it is.
Yeah. It's funny how someone...
it can inspire somebody.
Gary watches this, he's like, I'll do this. And we're all like, God damn, this is horrible.
Yeah. Gary,
It's like torture.
Hold your ears, Gary, to quote the Phillips file. Hold your ears. You can watch this on our YouTube channel.
Hey, I just finished just a massive climb, and
No way.
Oh, man.
I give up.
it was just really hard.
You're gonna hurt, you're gonna bleed, you're gonna cry.
I wouldn't cry.
I'm old and tired. These young bucks are killing me. Struggling on the climbs today.
Okay, I think you get the idea.
Right,
I mean,
right.
basically.
This guy is just pumping uphill.
Yep.
In what seems like an endless uphill,
Yeah.
forever uphill, and there's no end. That's got to be mentally excruciating.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that, Gary. Like, so what I'm building to is this is all for personal. Like, I understand if there's $1 million prize at the end, and like I understand the motivation when it comes to that, or like the monetary motivation. It's like, but the only personal goal, even I understand when you told like other people, friends and family, like I'm going to do this, like an Iron Man. Then you don't want to look embarrassed in front of them because you proclaimed to everybody that you're going to do this. So you're kind of like motivated by not being embarrassed by that. But when it's just yourself and it's that first day, and you're uphill, downhill, and like everything about it is miserable, what makes you push on further? Like how, is there any way to explain that to us?
Yes, that internal engine, you can get to a bad place in your head. So you have to it's such a huge mental battle to keep pushing on. You get up that one hill, you have fun, enjoy the downhill. It's super fun going downhill, especially for me, Florida boy, flatlander. I had so much fun going down, and then I just have to go right back up again.
No.
And that was kind of the price you paid. And some of the hills were so steep, the climb so difficult, I had to push the bike up. So that's an interesting part of this one particular race was, 350 miles of course, probably 40 to 50, I had to hike the bike. So I pushed the bike up these wet Georgia clay trails. My bike's fully loaded with gear, weighs, 60 pounds.
Oh,
and
man.
It's just
Are there ways
really
to work?
soul crushing in a way, but you just have to push on.
Are there guys sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there. Yeah. Are there ways to ease into this? Like when you started, would you go and do like, let's say 100 miles or?
Yeah, absolutely. Train up for it. This was a big, mega distance race in the Georgia mountains, but, always train, build up your stamina, go on smaller trips, 1-day trips, get your gear right.
That's nuts, man. I think the part that I'm not able to connect right now of how difficult it would be is to set myself in that wet environment that he's in and holding the bike and then having to just power on and just push it up there. Were there any points that you thought maybe were physically impossible for you to get through?
There's one particular trail they highlighted in the documentary. It's about a 5 miles, basically a hiking trail. It's not even a biking trail. Georgia clay switchback, and it was all wet. So I had to push the bike up, hold the brakes so the bike wouldn't roll back down on me, then shuffle my feet up, then push it up again, and then climb. My one friend hit that area at night, and he got about halfway up and ended up just sleeping on the trail because he was exhausted and couldn't get up.
So, Gary,
Oh, man.
I also find it fascinating with these types of things, these quests, that they're very you're alone. And and even with like Ironman competition, I talked to my brother-in-law about this. Like, he's like, this is very solitary thing to
It's
be
intimate,
in,
yeah.
because you are alone with your own thoughts for the most of it, and it's just pushing yourself past what you think you could do. And you start off with a big group of people and stuff, but even if you're running with a crowd, you're alone in your head, miserable, dealing with it as you have to. And so even though you're around a bunch of people, it's all solitary type of thing. So when you get out here, do you see other people with you? Do you help each other, or is it very solitary and you are just doing it by yourself?
The bikepacking community in general everyone's really friendly. So you kind of help each other, you push each other along. I started out with a group, but after the first few 20 or 30 miles, we started separating, and that's okay. Some people go slower, some go faster. Throughout the course, you kind of yo-yo back and forth. I might climb up a hill better. I'll pass somebody, and then they'll catch up to me later. So you kind of go back and forth with other people, and you get to know some people that way, especially a multi-day event where you're going for. I finished it in just under 4 days, the TNGA.
Oh my God.
And the last 100 miles of the course, I had hooked up with this other rider, DC Dan, which turned out not to be his name at all. And I yelled his name Dan a couple of times during the event and wondered why he didn't turn around. But so he and I just
That man was Barack Obama. Horribly wrong.
He and I stayed together like the last 100 miles, and it helped. Like, we would push each other, where like my spirits would drop and he would make some jokes. His spirits would drop. I would make some jokes at him. So it worked out really well, and it was just happenstance.
Well, until the end, where he revealed, DC Dan was never my name. I'm Jersey Jerry. You'll remember me.
or you're hallucinating and there's a figment of your imagination.
That's how
it wasn't
happened
even
too.
real. And DC Dan was selling soap, and it was all in your mind the whole
I was
time.
riding one time, and I keep seeing like, oh, here's like a squirrel. Here's a bird, and I get up to him. It's just a palm frond like blowing in the wind. And I realized
now we're
needed to
talking.
sleep. So I kept seeing shit.
If you're just joining us, Crazy Gary's on the line. And I'm joking. I'm joking with him.
So, Gary, speaking of hallucinating and all that, do you bring any sort of relief, pain relief, something where, like,
ibuprofen?
I'm more higher than that.
A lefty?
Like just something where, like, 2 days into it, you're like, oh my God, I'm miserable, and like I'm gonna take some
icy hot.
No, take some THC or some sort of pain reliever, or like a little bit of Roxycontin just to get you through. You borrow it from your aunt that had cancer. Well, something.
My God.
I'm just saying some sort of performance-enhancing drug, or at least
how did you nail that for me?
To numb the pain.
Every...
Or do you look at that like you're cheating the system, kind of like Braveheart spitting out the potion that was going to kill him the night before, and now he got his intestines, and you wanted to feel the pain? Like, how does that work, Gary?
Yeah, I bring Tylenol. Tylenol works well when you're actively engaged in activity.
Tylenol?
Oh, my God.
Ibuprofen.
Tylenol
So that's my go-to.
I mean, at least get some Aleve PM and party a little bit.
Yeah, so that's all. It's just Tylenol. No, like a little airplane bottle of vodka.
Right.
Just something at night to help you sleep.
He's an athlete.
Oh, I don't need help sleeping at night. I'm out. I save the adult beverages for after the event.
Yeah, he pushes himself to the limit. And he's exhausted. He passes out. Not like us, we have all the energy inside of us. We poison ourselves to the limit. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Poison me to the
You
limit.
can push or you can poison.
Poison to the limit.
We're poison.
Write that down. I'm writing that song this week.
So just.
It's almost as good as the bath time song.
Oh, yeah. Time for bath.
What about any amphetamine, some sort of speed to get you
Yeah.
going?
Yes.
Caffeine.
White Crosses?
Caffeine for sure, like 5 Hour Energy, some type of caffeine product. Keep you awake, keep you alert.
I think I'd probably have a heart attack if I did that. I'm pushing up these hills.
Yeah.
What about the doo-doo, Gary? Because
Who's doo-doo, Gary?
I imagine that you're at a place, it's just out in the woods, and do you bring toilet paper?
Do you
with
bring
you?
TP or wipes?
That's no.
Well, you bring wipes. You bring wipes in case you have to go. But, it doesn't happen too much because your body is using all the fuel you put into it. Your body's using it. So there's not much left over.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot left over with those.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm
They're
like,
saving it up.
I'm
You
like,
guys are breaking toilets like Butler.
I'm like, this is more than I actually ate. How is that possible? It's getting rid of
It's
things.
multiplying inside of
It's
you.
almost like there's poison coming out of my body.
It's more poison. And so, have you ever quit, Gary? Like, has there ever been one challenge that you started maybe earlier on, and you're like, "That's it, I'm done," and then do you whip yourself for quitting, or how does that work?
Yeah, 100%. My very first Cross Florida individual time trial, maybe 5 years or so back, I had never ridden more than 70 miles. So I hit 100 miles. This was great. I was so excited. And I got to 170 miles. It was the middle of the night. I was freezing cold. I fell asleep like shivering, and I bowed out at that point. And then I kicked myself ever since for doing that.
Yeah. Did you admit to your friends and family, like, shame that
Yeah.
you?
Did
And
you
they
come
all
back?
did.
That's all the shame. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you come back and you're like, you know what? Maybe
Because
this
they're
whole
all
bike
watching
thing's
on the computer. Your course is
Oh,
starting.
no.
Don't tell them to watch.
Don't tell
Yeah.
anybody nothing.
Give them the wrong email address.
That's when you just.
Yeah, my sister's calling. Are you okay? What happened?
Oh.
You know.
Oh, my God.
yeah.
I met Jersey Jerry. He's making jokes. His name wasn't DC Dan. And
Do you have any entertainment while you're riding? Do you listen to an audiobook, a podcast?
I hope you have a friend of yours drive in front of you with an Astro van with like a 42-inch TV off the back, and
Yeah.
you're watching straight up Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Or is it straight silence, you in your own head, just like push me to the limit,
Yeah,
Gary?
I want you watching the
Oh no,
View.
music. So music that changed my mood, and then the Tom and Dan podcast.
Yeah, you put us on when you need to
Oh yeah.
They're like, I don't want to be these big fat turds.
listen
I
to
have
the turd.
I have a real old iPod, right? So on there I have some of the older episodes.
Oh, the
So
good
I
ones.
just-
Better ones,
The
yeah.
good ones.
Oh,
yeah.
with Rakuko and some
Oh,
other
yeah.
movie-
Back when
goofiness.
Ross
That
was
was
here,
the
it
good
was a
days.
better
yeah.
show.
Yeah, the good old days. Yeah.
That's what we
When
call it.
Sam was in charge the ticket challenge, making people do rap battles. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
So, last question, Gary: are there any people that are in this, arena that are suspected of cheating? Like, for instance, there's got the Tom Van mountain biker, and he made this time, and he's got the GPS proof. But you're
Yeah.
like, Daniel told me they've built in like little mini engines and
Oh,
road
yeah.
bikes.
Oh,
for,
yeah.
for
Oh,
like,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
so
they've been cheating in the Tour de France and all that for like, oh
Yeah.
my God, man, yeah.
So if you had
Crooked.
because nowadays with the technology, they've got electric mountain bikes, and I'm sure you could rig where you could have some sort of minor help, and if that help, like up the uphills, like just a little bit of help would like save you 25% of your power. The huge difference.
Yeah.
So, are there any cheaters that are suspected in the, bike camping,
Bike packing?
endurance, bike pack industry?
Yeah, not that I know of. If there are folks that do that, that's on them. I'm here to push myself to my limits, and that's what my friends do. So if you're cheating, that's on you.
I feel like I'm at my limit right now. Dude. I feel like I'm gauging it in my mind right now, and I feel very pushed.
Who's the Lance Armstrong of this particular world?
Please say Lance Armstrong, because that would make me laugh.
Like, there's always the guy that's the best, and that did like who has done that hard ass race the fastest?
Is it DC Dan?
Yeah, there's a few. Eddie O'Day is one guy. He helped design that Trans-North Georgia adventure course. He rode here in Florida for a long time. But yeah, there's a few guys out there who
Eddie
can
O'Day,
really
Patty
push the limits.
O'Melt.
Hey, did you guys want to see the bike?
Yeah,
let's see
yeah.
it. Let's see it.
All right,
Also,
let's do a quick.
Show us your treads, bro.
yeah.
Easy.
Right?
Do you have some sort of like bucket list ride that you always want to do, like
You start at Rome.
Atlantic,
and
like a fireball, cannonball run, like Atlantic to
you wanna
Pacific,
Too
do
much
it-
fireball this weekend.
It's like to
This
do
guy's
one
obsessed.
shot of
Yeah.
fireball.
or like the one from Miami to Alaska. Like that's a
Ooh.
motorcycle one.
Yeah.
But is there anything like that you've?
Well, I want to do the Florida Divide, and then I want to do the Tour Divide, which goes from Canada to Mexico down the Continental Divide through the Colorado Rockies. So that's the epitome of rides here in the U.S.
How long does that take?
2 weeks, I think, is the record.
Oh.
I would probably take a month or so to do it.
1 month. My God.
Yeah.
All that time just thinking about. I don't know.
Oh, well, look, he's got them posed in the yard. Those are
Oh,
dope
yeah.
bikes, man.
So this is the big boy on the left. So to the right here, the small tire, that's my double extra large 29er. And you can see it just doesn't really even compare to
Oh
the
my
big,
God, dude!
the big
The
boy.
custom-made boy is so much crazier.
Dude, I'm glad you have it up against a wooden fence because we all know the height of that first bar that goes across it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
It's perfect that he did this, so I know at 5'2" that your handlebars are about my eyeballs.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
that bike's as tall as Daniel.
I would love to try
Yeah,
and
my
ride
seat's
it.
my seat's 4 feet off the ground, and the bike is 7 feet long.
And that's everything for cyclists. If you know, I ride all the time, but everything is how your bike fits you. And so many kids around Baldwin I see that are not fitted for their bikes, and they got their knees and their eyeballs, and it's just a mess. Dude, I'd love to try and ride your bike. I bet you I couldn't even pedal it.
Yeah, you probably could.
And here's some of the stuff that we use on the events.
You got your honey stingers.
Oh, you got
and-
condoms?
All right.
What? Yeah, you can never be too
yeah.
safe. He's got magnums too.
What shoe do you wear, Gary?
You don't want to know.
Oh, yeah. Needs the big bike.
14.
Whoa.
14.
Yeah. Good
You're
Lord.
carrying a lot of extra weight.
Yeah, you really are.
Yeah, it's unfair.
How tight are your compression pants?
Down too tight.
Yeah.
My God. Everybody's going to be like, why do you have your backpack down
So yeah,
there?
here's the old the Tom and Dan podcast right there.
Look at that old
Oh,
iPod.
well, my God, Gary. What'd you, 2005
You know
call
what?
they want their iPod back.
We're going to buy you a new iPod. Jesus
We
Christ.
should.
They got
We're
cheap ones
sponsoring
now.
you.
No, they got your iPods in your phone now, Gary. You're gonna,
I
but
have to conserve my phone battery.
do you bring some sort of emergency, or is it just your phone? Because I'm sure you have no
He brings
reception.
a
Personal
double-barrel
GPS.
shotgun on his backpack.
Yeah, because there's probably a lot of areas you're riding through with no reception. Like, what happens if you get bit by a snake or you fall down?
It's the Spot satellite tracker. So it tracks
Yeah.
you by satellite. It has a 911 feature, which we'll call an emergency response, or another feature which you can press and your friends could come help you out if it's not an emergency.
Those are
I
big
need to
in
get
skiing.
one of those.
No, those are big in skiing.
Also
Yeah.
hiking, yeah.
I saw them all over Asp or Snowmass. That people
Yeah,
don't
it's
know what
awesome.
they're doing by those. So when they fall in off the cliff, they can hit the button and the rich people coming
Yeah,
down.
it's a great comfort to have that with you.
Do you put the baby
And-
Yoda on your bike?
I did for this last hurricane event because it
Oh,
was
Tom
popular.
hates it.
It's
Tom
because-
hates
yeah,
it.
it's because you're
Gary-
getting older, Gary.
Gary-
It's because you and when you get an older man, you cannot resist the stuffed animal bungee
Yeah.
combo.
Gary,
You're an old man, Gary.
So far, I liked everything about you. I'm like, Gary's a real man. He's super
He
logical.
did. He wrote your name on a pad, but he's scratching it out
You
right
put
now.
a heart next to it.
Like, I'm like, Gary weighs all his supplies, so he doesn't bring anything that's overweight, like exactly what he's going to consume, like the lightest
He's
everything.
logical.
The logic. And then when I saw that baby Grugo, or whatever the hell his name
Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. If you're going to get his name right, then you're just as bad as Gary.
You got it wrong. It's
I-
Grogu, not Grugo.
Yeah, whatever.
That was for Butler. A little tip of the hat to Butler.
Yeah, he got
No,
closer
That guy's
to
on
me.
vacation
Yeah,
for a
he-
month.
Tip of the hat. Butler's not wearing a hat.
He's also in the Caribbean. He's got COVID. For sure. Because he tried to buy drugs from some sort of screw face
Yeah.
that coughed COVID right in his face. Please.
He's the only guy I know that would buy a used vape tank in
Yeah.
St. Lucia just so he could get high.
Yeah.
You don't have the camel bag, by the way, which
No, those are for, come on.
when you're a big fatso and I see you have one,
Yeah, I'm like, what's in that?
I see people at music festivals with it.
No,
Like,
it's all fat
man,
people.
give me a
Like,
break.
I see fat man, I'm like, what's in that, butter?
I'm also like you don't need the,
Yeah, where do you get a hydrate? The first thing you need to start about, your feet are purple. Start there.
You need to dehydrate. You have too much liquid. So, do you have one of those, or you just do straight sports bottle?
Yeah, I don't use the backpack because that's too much weight on the shoulders for the long distance.
Yeah.
So I just keep everything on the bike, let the bike take the weight.
Yeah, that's for fat guys at EDM festivals.
Exactly. Or guys
You're
that are
not
like,
wrong.
you know what, I see him around here. It's fat guy decided to jog one time. What does he do? He goes out and buys a camelback. He fills it full of Diet Mountain Dew, puts it on, he runs one time. He's sucking it down. I know, I see you out there.
He's full flavor Gatorade Fierce
Yeah,
purple.
you got he's getting the limited edition code red Major Melons Mountain Dew. It's pink. It's called Major Melons.
Full.
Oh, he's drinking it.
48 grams
This
of sugar.
camelback's great as I go to each Pokestop. I'm looking at you, big fat EJ.
Oh.
EJ's body style is camelback.
Well, Gary, I feel like I would do this, but I would need some sort of electric bike or electric mountain
Well,
bike.
that's not doing it then.
Like I like the motorcycle one. Yeah. The extreme exercise part of this, that's where I'm just not that guy. Like the extreme exercise guy.
Yeah, but you do want to do these things because I see how long you hesitate on Facebook when somebody does a Tough Mudder, and you look at it with all the envy in your eyes, and you want to strap on when they do color runs and Tough Mudders and all that. You want to be that guy, but you also hate those guys.
I like the call. What's that movie where the guy goes and lives in the bus in Alaska?
Into the Wild.
Into the
Into the
Wild.
Wild.
Yeah. I like a combo between Speed and Into the Wild.
Into the Speed.
See, I don't like. I like to go out with no plan and then die in a bus.
Wait, we could do that this weekend. That was like my bachelor party.
Yeah, but right before I die, I realize, oh my God, I ate the goddamn like the berries that are poisoning me.
They're not gonna find me.
Yeah, and then I
And
realize.
then eventually they're going to come and take this bus away because
Yeah.
people are going to want to die of the berries. 'Cause people are so stupid, they're going to emulate my berry death. That's how stupid people are.
Yeah, then they have to carry the bus out of there because, like,
You know what? This is why we can't have a abandoned bus.
Yeah.
Why can't we leave the junk bus in the woods? Because kids are going there and eating the berries. They're emulating the berry guy. They're killing themselves. Well, take the bus. I get the helicopters.
God damn it.
This is why I hate everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gary.
All right, Gary. Do you have any way people can follow you? You got some social media? Because I'll
I'd love
follow
to,
you.
I'd love to keep up with you, man. And unlike your family, when I watch your GPS, I'll root for you. I'm not going to get mad at you because you're shivering in the cold.
Oh, well, I didn't think of that. Gary Kors on Facebook, I guess, is my main social media.
All right.
Yeah, we went on a
That'd be
little.
the best,
we
the best way
poured
to
on a
find
little
me, I
strong, didn't we,
suppose.
Gary? Yeah.
I have to be a little bit more active in the BDM groups. You know, I'm a BDM, so I need to be a little more active there.
You don't have to. No.
Yeah. They're all. I mean, it's,
I
don't,
prefer a
You're
silent
better than
partner.
that.
I prefer a silent partner.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Mike B. There.
Yeah. If Mike B, I'm a genius.
Then
Follow me for other great recipes.
Yeah. Then there's the. Have you seen the Discord, Gary? Oh
No,
man.
don't go there.
Don't go in the Discord.
Don't
Gary.
go there.
Unless you're going to, number one. you know.
Put some pictures next time you're on an adventure, a quest of just like, hey, I'm in the middle of the night, I'm camping by myself, just to
Yeah.
remind us how big of a pussy we are.
Right.
Sorry, I have to cut that out. But I like to see that when I'm sitting at home watching reruns of Saturday Night Live on my couch, and you're sleeping on the side of a mountain after biking for 20 hours. It just reminds me of how weak I am. And I think everybody needs to do that. You see another human doing unbelievable things, you're like, my God, I'm weak. Anyway, all right, Gary.
Well, my next event, I'll do that. I'll make sure to post and give you guys some credit. Maybe I get my hands on one of those hats, Tom.
No, a straw hat. I'll send you a straw hat.
If you wear it on your ride,
Yeah,
Tom will send
you
you
can.
that.
He'll slow him down.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, we need a swim cap or something. Fast.
All right, Gary, take it easy. Be safe out there.
All right, guys.
All right,
Thanks.
see you, man. Be good. All right, that is
Give
Gary.
him a be safe out there. I haven't done that in a
Why'd you
while.
do
I know. Well, we got weird at the end because we poured it on thick for Gary, and he had the second thoughts at the end. He's like, "Well, the first part of the interview was pretty normal."
Yeah, but I think this is the rest of the part of
They
that.
went crazy at the end, and they're talking about the bus
I'm not
and the
telling
berries.
I'm not telling my family about this. All right, bye. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha's here. Still no Butler. If you find him, Dan@tomandan.com.
So with us today, we haven't talked to this gentleman in a while.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Samantha scheduled this because when I was on the plane to Colorado, I watched a movie. And when I finished the movie, I wanted to bitch to someone about this.
Oh,
I tried to
yes.
do it a little bit to Daniel, but no one. And then
Is this
my
the one
brother-in-law.
you keep wanting me to watch The Lady in the Dale? Or
No,
what?
no,
no,
You
no.
keep telling me to
Docuseries,
watch
yeah.
it.
No.
You gotta watch it. I'm on that Invincible, and I'm caught up.
I don't watch cartoons.
I think this is a cartoon you would love. The
No.
story is so effed up. I think you would love it.
I'm like, cartoon story stupid.
This is not a stupid story.
It's a cartoon story, right?
It's being made into live action actually right now.
But currently cartoon?
Yes, currently
That's
cartoon.
But I saw this movie and I wanted to bitch to Chris about it and see what he thought. But on the line with us, zooming in from his own studio, Chris Crespo from Cinema Crespediso podcast. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
Good. So before we start talking about movies, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff in the movie industry that's happening right now that I'm not sure. Like I heard an announcement about
This virus is ravaging.
well, about the King Kong Godzilla, and like that had an opening weekend. It was like the biggest one since the pandemic. But let's rewind to a movie that I want to bitch about, and it was up for an Oscar, I think, a year ago or two, and it was 1917.
Oh, I liked 1917.
Well,
While he was watching 1917, his wife was watching The Pelican Brief. I watched
think
them
that
both.
was the last movie I watched before quarantine happened.
yeah. And when did that come out? And is it the
December 2019.
Yeah.
Okay. So now it got a lot of critical acclaim, and it was up for a bunch of
This is the one
awards.
about the fishman that falls in love with a lady.
No. This is the World War I movie. I like to call it Running with Bombs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Running with
That's
Bob.
pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just Running with Bombs, old timey Running with Bombs. So, Chris, are you familiar with this picture?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it when it was in theaters.
All right. So here's what I want to ask you, and this is why I'm insane, because I couldn't stop thinking about this, and I couldn't look up the answer because there wasn't that much
You've been trying to get me to bite on this for a while now.
So, and this may be a tiny spoiler, but so if you're looking to watch 1917, stop listening. So
World War I spoiler. Here we go.
yeah. So in the movie, basically the plot, and I'll make it loose, and I won't tell you what happens.
Make it loose.
The plot is they need some information behind enemy lines, or in a dangerous place, and they send 2 recruits to go take some information to another battalion or whatever, another army that's in a different area that is about to be tricked by the Germans, and they need to get the information to their captain.
So they're prepared, yeah.
Yeah, so to give them the, hey, you're being tricked or whatever, and they send a guy, and the plot, they send a guy whose brother is in that other battalion, and he's in danger if they don't get there in time with the information. So they're motivated, or at least one of them is, by saving his brother,
So
right?
there's your plot
There's
point,
the plot.
right?
So am I pretty accurate so far, Chris, right?
Yes, you're accurate. And the brother then just recruits his friend to come with him. So his friend is
Yeah.
just like, okay, I'll go.
So this is not in the movie. These are not guys that are like part of the World
Special
War I Special
Forces,
Forces. Because I
or-
imagine that even back then they had some like special forces
elite
guys,
guys,
elite
yeah.
guys, like, or the guy that was the best at running.
So they just got the guy and his buddy.
yes, the guy and his buddy to get in. Now, a lot of people's lives are at stake, right? If they don't get there in time.
So this is important.
This is very important, hugely important to a lot of lives, and maybe to the war in itself.
To the cause.
Yeah, to the cause of this entire thing they're doing. So here's what bothered me. The whole time this is happening, I'm watching planes fly by, right? Like, because there was like, biplanes in World War I, and they were
All
doing
kinds,
like
bombers, all kinds of
well, no, I don't know. Back then, there was only like literally prop
you
planes.
mean the old the Red Baron?
yeah,
shooting
the Red Baron shooting the machine gun through the propeller type of
yeah.
deal,
Had to time it just right.
And they were doing dogfights and stuff. But there were planes, and they were showing them in the battlefield, and like actually showing some dogfights, and planes were involved, right? So the whole time these guys are trying to get to their mission, all I can think about is why didn't they just get a plane guy to fly to where
To
they
the
are
battalion.
to the battalion, and then they could, even if there was no place to land because all the whole ground was shut up, like you could throw a message in a bottle or some sort of
Okay.
like, they have ammunition, like a hardcore sturdy things they keep
I'll
ammo
put
in,
the note in my helmet and throw it out of my plane.
or some way where they can get the information faster instead of sending the 2 goons just by foot to run across the area. All I can think about is why not send someone in a plane, or send these guys in a plane, and then maybe they get shot down. I thought about all this. I was like, well, maybe there's too much enemy fire, but I was like, still better chance.
Well, you take the long way.
Well, to get there, like send 5 different planes and then get one guy, throw the message out.
You really went in on
Yeah,
it.
well, that's what bothered me the entire time, Chris. Do you have any explanation to why they didn't send a plane?
Because they didn't have time to get to a plane or fuel one up. They're so far behind enemy lines. You think they just had planes readily available at World War One? Those biplanes, you had to get that propeller thing going. By the time they get that going, a German sniper is going to take their head off. Tom, I have no idea. It's a movie, buddy. They just want to have a movie about a bunch of guys traveling through enemy lines and make it like a fake one shot. Don't worry about the plane. Don't worry about the.
That's not good enough.
It was. I'm reading it. I mean, it's loosely based on events that happened, but it's not an actual true story. So it says, in reality, such an order would have been too dangerous to assign.
No,
so
why not send
then don't make the movie.
Let's send the plane. Well, the problem is, at least tell me, be like, we can't send a plane because these Germans, they gotta out there shoot down all our planes. To just put that.
Oh, so you just want that in there? 10 minutes? I don't want that 10 minutes. That's the most boring 10 minutes.
Just make a reference about it so it doesn't drive me crazy the whole time. That's all I'm saying. There has to be other insane people like me thinking about this the entire movie, and then after the movie, yelling about how this is stupid. They didn't send a plane. Just mention it. Throw out some BS just so I could be satisfied because I was just
Did you enjoy the movie or did this ruin it for you?
It was fine, but it ruined the fact that I was like, why not send a plane? Why not the plane?
So did you keep like okay.
Because the whole time I'm like, these guys are going through tremendous
so
amount of
anything that
effort.
they did, they'd be like a bomb go off, you'd be like, should have had a plane.
Yeah.
Be like, a plane would have been better. Okay.
By the way, this is why my wife hates me and why I can't have fun.
Yeah, this is terrible.
I can't imagine you can watch any movie and have any kind of enjoyment.
I ruin all my enjoyment out of why didn't they send the plane?
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry,
Chris.
Yeah. What's on the menu this week, Chris?
My God.
Anyway, maybe someone will tell. Okay, so Chris, what do we got coming up as far as movies? How are they going to do movie rollouts from now on?
What are you watching?
Like, I'm sure you're connected into that. I mean, we all saw HBO Max just start releasing movies, and the pandemic has made direct-to-consumer seemingly a thing now that isn't going to go away, I imagine.
No.
Like, I don't think they're going to go back and change it.
What, not do any of that? Just be like, nope, sorry, theaters only now.
Yeah. So how is that going to work?
Well, spoiler alert, Warner Brothers and Regal have worked out a deal that starting in 2020, Warner Brothers movies will no longer go to HBO Max directly, but instead will play exclusively in theaters for a window of 45 days. And then they will go to HBO Max. So while the industry for sure is changing and will forever be evolving, this whole idea that all of a sudden movie theaters are just going to be not needed and movies are going to go straight to streaming at home that's not in the cards anytime soon, because it hits different when you're in a theater. Seeing a movie on a big screen with professional surround sound in a darkened room like that is completely different from watching it at home. And there are still more than enough people out there who value that experience to make it a viable industry. It will be changing, but it won't be going away.
Yeah, I see. You said this. Our buddy Ron has said this, but I haven't. I hear it from people that I know of, that my friends that I know that love movies.
Mm-hmm.
But
only the extremists, though.
Well, I take it from me. Yeah. Like, I'm not a movie guy.
The regular guy, yeah.
So to me, if I'm like, well, I'm not even that. I think the regular guy sees more movies than I do. But I'm actually more excited about the prospect of getting the movies 45 days, 48 days, whatever later, because I'd much rather watch it at home. So I'm happy about this. I'm going to get them a little bit quicker, which is great.
Didn't they do, 45 days, is that, what was the time before?
We were getting it anyway, right? Or even sooner.
I guess it was
previously it was 90 days. Up until the pandemic, it was a 90-day window. When a movie comes out in theaters, it won't be available anywhere else for 3 full months. And then they had a very specific rollout. After 3 months, it'd be available for video on demand at $20.
Right.
Then like a couple months after that, it drops down to $6. Then it pops up on a streaming service before these movies still eventually get to broadcast TV in a couple years where there's even more money to make. These movies are making money at every stage. So Now these windows are getting smaller, and that works obviously in the favors of the studios because the movie stays fresher. It spends less time not making money in a theater because now most movies, they make most of their money in the first month anyway. In the first 30 days, a major film will make 90% of its box office, at least in North America. So 3 months from now, those movies can be in dollar theaters. It doesn't matter. They can go ahead and start dropping them at home for the $20 price point. And now they're making even more money.
Now, I know when I talked about like theaters being phased out and people got mad because I think the people that like theaters and the movie enthusiasts
You're gonna
got
stick
real
up
mad.
for it, yeah.
So
you get your emotions involved to what's actually happening, I think.
the good thing is we will know eventually because the consumer will make the decision if they want to not see the movie in the movie theater and wait the 45 days until it comes out, and then the industry sees that the majority of people are just waiting and then want it direct to consumer, that will happen. Or if the movie theaters continue to pump out movies or pump out money for these production companies and this business model works because people are dying to get back in the theater and watch a movie that way, then it will be saved. But the people will decide. I'm like Daniel. I see a majority of my friends and family not clamoring to get back into a movie
Do you know
theater
anybody
because
that's been?
the experience, a movie? Yeah. I know people that are gone.
Now,
movie theaters are open.
No, I know. I don't know anybody who's been. Personally,
maybe
Chris. Chris, you've been, right?
Yeah.
I've been 3 times in the last 2 days.
Yeah, so you are one of maybe 2 people I know that have been.
I know. I personally, friends and family, don't know anybody that's gone back to the movie. Not because they're afraid of Corona or anything,
right.
but
It's not a
just
thing.
because they're not clamoring to get back to it.
That's my point.
That's where I feel I'm like, man, I don't know if that movie experience that you're talking about is as important to other people as it is to you because it's all subjective. And I don't know if there's enough people that keep it alive. I hope there is. I don't hope for anybody
Chris,
to fail.
EJ, Big Ron, man, I don't have a very long list of people that I consider my friends that are Uber moviemans.
My buddy Fernando, but he lives in Miami, so he's been, not,
that's
very
different.
corona,
That's way
but
different.
down
What's
there.
the vibe like, Chris, when you go? It's cool, right?
It's totally cool. Well, first off, the theater, a couple points. First off, the theater, I'll work backwards. Since it just opened, the Regal theaters, and there's not all of them are even open, and not everyone knows they're open. So when I was there this weekend, there was like almost no one there.
Nice.
So the auditoriums were empty for the most part. It was very chill. Plus, I got vaccinated and I had my mask. Like, I don't care anymore. I'm all about going to the movies now. But let's go backwards a bit. Counterpoint. Movie theaters. You want to talk about people clamoring to go back. Godzilla vs. Kong came out. It is available on HBO Max right now. It was available on HBO Max for 2 days before it was in theaters.
Yeah.
That movie made $50 million in the North American box office, and it's at $280 million worldwide already in just its first week. The last MonsterVerse movie would be Godzilla King of the Monsters, which came out pre-pandemic, no excuses, made $380 million worldwide. This movie in just 1 week is only $100 million short of the last Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
I did hear about that, and that definitely is evidence toward the movie theater business coming back.
Yeah.
Although the statistics may be skewed a little bit because it's the first major blockbuster movie that really has been marketed as a movie theater type experience, and the movie theaters are open, or at least some of them are in certain states. So it's like this is the first one back. So I expected it to be good.
There were 2 more. Tenet came out last September, only made about $40 or $30 million of the North American box office. Wonder Woman came out in December, only made $44 million. Both of those advertised as, hey, go to the theater, go see them. It's all about timing. It's the fact that vaccines are rolling out. More people are feeling more comfortable venturing out into the public. If those movies had waited, they would have made money. The theater business is not in need of saving. In 2018, 2019, those last 2 years, box office revenue, gross revenue for North America was $23 billion. No, that's worldwide. $23 billion industry in just 2 years. And that's a record for revenue for any 2 years for for movies. So
Yeah.
the movie theater industry is technically bringing in more money than it has ever. So while the pandemic obviously hurt it quite a bit, and we can see how an even larger crisis could destroy the industry, it's not in danger of going away. People want to go back. Japan and China, both of those places had the coronavirus under control a lot sooner than we have. And their movie theaters have been open since last fall, like all of them. And they were setting box office records in Japan and China for movies that are just their domestic films, not even like Hollywood stuff.
Sure, not even big deals. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So people everywhere. I mean, Avatar, they did a re-release, the Chinese government. It made $40 million in 2 weeks. That movie is 12, 13 years old. It's old technology.
Yeah.
And it made a ton of money.
You see the chat room kind of kicking around the idea for those of us that are more like in my category. You're not Joe Average. You're not even an average moviegoer. There is some sort of an appeal to me being able to make a nice reserved seat reservation for a upscale theater. You know, like there are different little pivots.
You make an event out of it,
yeah, and things that you can do to it now that do make it better for those of us that were really never in there to begin with. You know, it's going to evolve and become something completely different.
And you've seen like the movie theaters, like the nicer ones, they get better seating and better food, and then it's not like
you
a
get a
giant
little more privacy. Maybe you get a table.
Yeah, it's not a giant cattle call where it's like a dollar, you know, the dollar theater where you're all in there with the, you know, roaches everywhere because there's so much candy on the floor and then, you know, that kind of thing.
Well, let's talk about the movie too, because you saw it. All of my friends, I haven't seen it yet, but I wish some of my friends would relax and not beat it up, because at its core, and this is coming from Mr. No Movie, it's a Godzilla movie. Stop beating the dialogue to pieces. Who cares? It's Godzilla.
Right.
Yes,
it's not supposed to be dialogue, right? It's supposed to be, show me how cool you can make Godzilla.
And I'll tell you, at under 2 hours, this movie, it flies by. There's so much action. And by the time the scene is over, you're like, okay, it's, oh my goodness, here's the next scene. It's really crazy. The design is over the top. I mean, there's a Godzilla King Kong fight that's just awash in neon, and it's like so stylish and cool. When I see people like kind of bashing this movie, at this point, I'm like, what do you even want from these kind of movies? What are you looking for? Because you're not going to get it if this movie doesn't give it to you. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
People love to be miserable. I like, this sounds really good. Everything I've heard about this, like, is it kid friendly? Is it violent? Because like, I thought the first person I thought of were your boys.
Oh,
it's PG-13 violent.
Oh yeah, they do too scared for this.
I thought they would like the, you know, monkey punching a lizard. Who doesn't like? When I was a kid, dude, Godzilla would come on. And Godzuki and Gamma Ray and all of the or Gamera,
yeah,
all of those dumb, like, whatever dubbed in like Asian monster movies would be on TV, and me and my dad loved them.
Yeah, although those monsters are so fake looking that it's almost absurd.
Scary. This would be
joke.
Very scary.
Like this is CGI.
I will say in this one, there are other big monsters that pop up that they can fight, and those monsters like get ripped in half. They have their heads ripped off. Green juices are spilling out. The monster violence is actually very over the top, but because it is monsters and a little cartoony, it gets the PG-13.
Nice.
The main problem with movies, and you probably know this, Chris, is people grade all movies as if they're the same or in the same category, which is crazy to me. It's like they're going to grade this movie on the same scale. They'll grade some Emmy Oscar nominated film. Yeah, it was all this stuff like
put it up against, you know, Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca.
It's in one gigantic category just called movie, which is stupid because the
Girl
Godzilla
Interrupted.
Yeah, they can't be in the same category. It's stupid to even put them in the same category or somehow put them on the same scale as some Oscar movie. You know, why don't people watch movies and understand going into them, this is what it is, this is the category it's in. I need to basically grade it subjectively based on that, not based on all our movies made.
Sure, yeah, but people don't take context into consideration in several ways. Obviously, I'm not going to sit down to watch Eric Andre's Bad Trip and expect to get the same thing from like the movie Mank, David Fincher's Mank. Even though they're both on Netflix, they're completely different films. I have to watch them recognizing that I'm getting different things. Similarly, it's like, why do people watch old movies and then they just complain about like the old style or the old special effects? Like, you have to watch something through the context of time and understand, well, this is what movies looked like way back when in 2004.
Let's talk about Bad Trip for a second. What did you think of that?
Oh my goodness. I highly recommend Bad Trip. Bad Trip is the kind of movie, as I was watching it, I was like, man, I wish I was in a full movie theater of people because it's so like over the top, outlandish, and some things that happen are so crazy. I would have loved to have heard the laughter. That stuff is so contagious. It reminds me of seeing like Jackass movies in theaters. Those are some of my favorite movie theater experiences back in college, was seeing Jackass movies.
Yeah, the reaction
Bad Trip gives me that vibe.
Yeah, reaction. One of the most fun movies I ever saw was Kings of Comedy. Like, I saw it with a packed audience. It was awesome. The energy level is just ridiculous.
Well, let's talk about this movie because I saw the trailer and I thought it was pretty interesting how they put this together, because basically it's a prank show with a plot.
Well, it's a movie.
It's a movie that has a prank show built into it. So it's part
scripted, part prank.
Yeah. And I've never seen that before, really. Like, I know they kind of did it with like Bad Grandpa. Is it Bad Grandpa?
And the same people that made that movie made this movie.
Okay, well, Johnny Knoxville was an old man, and it's like him being... Yeah,
I watched that the last time we went to Colorado on the plane, and it was terrible.
But it seems...
I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's not like, I watched it with the right glasses on. I was like, this is garbage.
But it seems like this movie went above and beyond plot-wise, and they focused more on the plot, and the Bad Grandpa with Johnny Knoxville was basically... Like, they strung it together loosely, and it was all about the pranks. This one has a plot and then pranks mixed in. How is it worth watching? Because I got a little nervous because sometimes Eric Andre can get weird, over the top to the point of...
he's definitely over the top.
Oh, yeah. He can do some stuff where you're like, what is happening?
It's an R-rated movie, too, so it's not like he's going to hold back. He's not trying to entertain your children. I definitely recommend it. I'm already like in the Eric Andre camp, though. I really enjoyed the Eric Andre show, and like I already said, I like Jackass and that kind of style of humor. And they do like manage to put together a little bit of a plot and even just a tiny bit of character development. It's actually pretty interesting what they managed to do, but still keep intact all the over the top like crowd shocking antics. So, like, pretty much what it is, instead of Eric Andre doing pranks to people, he'll have something done to him in front of people, and then we'll just get their reactions for the most part.
That's my favorite kind of prank, by the way. Like, I don't like when they prank the unsuspecting person, because I'm like, what did that guy didn't do anything. Like, just leave him alone. But when they do something insane and then you just get crowd reaction... Although I am going back to 1917.
Weird that you get mad because this is the most uncomfortable thing anybody could ever do to you.
Well, I get skeptical that they're using, like, even the things that didn't work well, they're just using stock crowd reaction that they picked up wherever they could, and they're just editing it together. So I'm like, how real is this? And back to 1917.
Remember what I learned at the beginning of pandemic, and I don't think we talked to Chris about this, but I was watching some show, I think it was like Dumb Masked Singer, and then I'm looking at the audience, and me and Andrew are like, that crowd is pre-COVID. Like, we just felt it, knew it. It just felt weird, and sure enough,
no one has masks on. They're sitting next to each other.
No, but at the end, you would think that they'd like trick it, do something. At the end, they say, we have used all cutscenes from previous, and it's like they outline everything that they do. It's very, very odd. What else are you watching? I'm on Invincible. I don't want to run out of time before I see if you're watching it. Are you watching that show at all?
Not yet. I know it just came out a couple of weeks ago, and they're going weekly, right? So I think on that one, I might let it build up a little bit. So
they dumped 3 2 weeks ago, and then they put a new one out, I guess, Friday. Nice. I'm really into it. I really like it. It's the story, I think, is super crazy effed up. I forgot how effed up that story is. And it is probably one of the most creative superhero origin tales that just keeps unraveling that I think I've ever heard of. And I love it. I really, really am excited about it. And I've been reading more and more about the different voice talents, like top tier. But then I found out that they're actually doing a live action Invincible that they're trying to
Yeah, and Seth Rogen and his guy Evan Goldberg are producing it, and I think even maybe writing the screenplay for that. And they have confirmed that it's still a Go production, even though there's also a simultaneous animated show going on. So that sounds pretty cool. I'm not watching that one yet, but it is for sure on my list of things to watch. There's so much stuff to watch. It's all out there. And now we got the Florida Film Festival coming up this week. So my next week and a half is going to be taken up by that.
Chris, what are some new movies that are coming out that they held on to? They held the release that now I imagine that they're going to start dumping them out. So
dump
what's
them
coming
out.
up?
They have a whole bunch. There's like A Quiet Place Part 2 was supposed to come out last March, at the end of last March, early April. So that's coming out now next month, I believe.
It's called A Quieter Place.
Which one is that again?
That's the monsters. They can only hear you, so you got to be super quiet. Emily Blunt.
You hate.
No, Jim.
Yeah.
No,
Jim and the monsters.
Yep.
Is it? Yeah. Is it they have to wear a blindfold, or is that the?
That's Bird Box.
Yeah.
This one is you got to be quiet. A Quiet Place.
Oh yeah.
This one,
and then he has. I never watched this because I'm too much of a snowflake.
He's in there, and then the monsters are around him, and he's like. And then like, oh God, Jim, he burped after having a salami sandwich.
I don't like when they're running with he's running with his son, and then I'm like, I can't, I'm too soft to watch.
Oh yeah, they have a baby in this one.
Wait, he's
running?
Even
more danger.
Does he run quiet like I try to run when I'm running through the house trying to hide my White Claws from my wife? You know what you do where you lean, you gotta roll your feet on the ground to keep it from clippy clopping. You run like old ladies do. Like I see these old ladies how they jog at Track Shack because they were like, this is my proper jogging. You gotta roll those feet down so you don't clip clop when you're trying to hide your cans.
I walk on my tippy toes because I can't.
Too loud.
My feet slap.
You know, being a little person, when I walk on my tippy toes, I just go and I can't do anything about it. It's like a sound effects.
So Quiet Place 2. What else we got?
There's Fast and Furious 9 got pushed over a year. Those movies make about $1 billion each worldwide. So I'm interested in seeing how much it can make this summer.
Still, even with the death of
Paul Walker.
Yeah, Walker.
Yeah, they're still cranking them out because they keep adding people. It's insane. They even had that Hobbs and Shaw spin-off movie. They're working on another spin-off that's like going to feature all the women of the Fast and Furious franchise. Like Vin Diesel is printing cash with this thing.
Okay, the people that are real into Fast and Furious,
yes.
At this point, it's a joke, like being into Sharknado, right? They don't actually think the movie is a masterpiece,
I don't think
right?
so, man.
It's delivering on its thing.
It's just fun. It's like a fun, movie.
Action movie.
The thing at Universal, when I went, had one of the longest lines. The ride, Fast and Furious at Universal.
The ride's
one of the
garbage.
Longest I've never ridden it,
it's
but
terrible.
A lot of people were really excited to ride it.
But the movies are, it's just Kong and Godzilla, but with douche cars, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's cars smashing into each other. And then you're like, how did they not kill each other?
I know that sounded negative. I'm pro this. If you're into that, go there and... I used to love the movie Biker Boys with Ice Cube. And
it's so ridiculous.
I am not afraid to admit it. There's some bike karate in that where they are fighting on bikes.
Now I gotta watch that.
Dude, they
do bike foo.
You get tooted and watch you some Biker Boys with I own it. I'll bring it to you.
See, I can totally wrap my mind around that, around the guy. Like I love getting high and going with my friends to watch Fast and Furious, and we laugh and we're just entertained. Like that.
Wait a minute, you would do that with me?
Well, that's
my dream.
I understand. You're kind of laughing at the absurdity of the action and all this. Like it's all part of it. But that's the allure, right? No one's actually like, this is awesome. These guys are awesome.
I'm sure there are some like dude bros who are like, these are the greatest movies ever. But for the most part, people just enjoy them for being the over-the-top ridiculous movies they are.
What Tom doesn't understand, that there are people with lower IQs that watch wrestling every night and that will go to bed thinking that The Undertaker is the coolest dude in the world. Or John Cena rules. Or that The Rock, I love The Rock. The Rock is I'm Rock for life. I got tattooed just like him. I am The Rock. That's a lot of my family in Virginia. Those are those people.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
They're very
Yes.
simple,
God,
and
I wanna-
they enjoy what they enjoy, and
I'm
they're
stupid
not
like them, but I hate fun. So
Yeah.
this is my
Oh,
like
John
the worst.
Cena's in the new Fast and Furious. See, I might
Yes.
watch
Of
course
this.
he is.
And he got hair, and when John Cena's got hair, he looks weird.
He looks absurd with
Yeah.
hair. He looks
I'll
so
watch it.
silly.
Yeah, and I'm a fan. Like that guy is a good actor,
And
I'm
he's
not
going to
saying-
be in. He's going to be in 2 of the biggest movies this summer
Yeah.
between that and The Suicide Squad.
Now, is he a great actor? No. Is he a good actor? Yeah, he is, and he does.
He's good at what he does.
He's good at what he does, and he seems like a nice guy. And above anything, he helps kids with cancer almost every day of his life. So get off his D and just let him drive the douche cars.
If
He's
you're,
awesome. He's going to be an even bigger star after this year.
Oh yeah.
if you're gonna be dumb, you gotta like fun. That's a because if you're dumb and don't like fun, then you're miserable.
You're
Tom man.
miserable all the time.
If you're like-
Look, I'm right there with you. You think
you're
I
too
go home and
dumb-
have fun?
Yeah. Like I'm too dumb to understand anything smart, and then also don't like fun. Worst company. So, what about any like Oscar nominated films that are projected to come out this year? Are they still going to be pushed back to like December when they normally come out? Are we going to see summer blockbusters? I mean, obviously, like you said, vaccine, we're open, baby. I mean, like, so you are there going to be summer blockbusters that could be nominated for awards?
I don't know about summer blockbusters. That's always really rare. I mean, at least like the big awards, like actor and movie and stuff. Like Transformers movies get nominated for visual effects, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're like some movies that would have been like Oscar type films late last year did get pushed fully to December of this year. For example, Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, his adaptation or his remake, I guess you can say, of that movie / play.
God, I like that.
It was supposed to come
story.
out. Yeah, it was supposed to come out last Christmas, but obviously theaters weren't open, so they pushed it to next Christmas because obviously they want that to pick up some awards chatter as well as, make some of that holiday money.
Oh, Brock BDM is throwing shade on the bike movies I used to like. And he probably brought up one even better than Biker Boys, Torque. I own Torque, too. You want
Oh,
Torque?
you're really into motorcycle movies, huh?
I like motorcycles, and I went through a phase where I like to sit with a cold Lagunitas IPA and get toot blasted watching terrible.
Okay, I can get behind that.
I am all about a dumb motorcycle movie. It's kind of like Westerns. I love, absolutely love Westerns. Love them.
I'm with you.
Old, black and white, doesn't matter what it is. I will put it on and watch it. I'm just an old man, I think.
Yeah.
It's a dumb old man genre.
It is a
and
dumb old man
I
genre.
love it.
I gotta
love it so
find
much.
more motorcycle movies to watch. Easy Rider goes in there, but that one's a little too cool and artsy.
And it's also depressing at the end when there's
Yeah.
like, we blew it, man.
It's
we blew it.
extremely depressing at the end, and don't even get me started on the whole cemetery montage.
I'll give you one. Electra Glide in Blue. It stars Robert Blake, the murderer. It's from like the 70s.
Electra
It's
Glide,
awesome.
Electra Glide in Blue. Electra Glide being the motorcycle of the same name. All right, I'm
Yes.
down for that.
Yeah, it's a cool movie.
Give me your opinion of this new Kristen Wiig movie that was the one about going to Cabo, I think. Or
Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
Yeah,
I
that.
haven't,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of good.
I haven't seen it yet, but the buzz from it, like from a lot of podcasts I listen to, especially comedy podcasts, people are like really, really enjoying this movie. They're recommending it to everyone. So it is on my list of movies for sure to look for this year because people really, really enjoy it. It's Kristen Wiig and her Bridesmaids co-writer.
Yeah, I think that would be a good watch too, because I know you're a fan of watching those type of movies too. I saw it, of all places, I saw that on a still functioning Redbox machine when I was getting some Diet Mountain Dews, and I saw it up there. Me being the, I guess I'm the only old technology agent left on the show. I saw it, I go, oh, that looks like a good movie. Is that on streaming? Because I'm certainly not going to Redbox it. Corona.
Yeah, you got to go back to the box. Get out of here.
Redbox.
Gross.
So, Chris, if you're going to throw out one movie that you've seen lately that you would suggest, because, and we'll talk about like movies that are available on demand right now, which I'm at the point where I don't really know exactly where to go to find the Universal on demand. I think it's Amazon where Amazon gets every movie that's on demand, but I don't know. No.
Okay, now my Apple TV is pulling from everything.
Oh, there's Apple? Yeah,
It goes all sources, and then it just loads everything. This is weird. This is where I go to a dumb old man, and then I hit the button, and then my Apple will go to like my Netflix or my Amazon or whatever, because Andrea's got it all connected. So he just talks to everything else, and dumb old man, I can sit there and watch everything.
Well, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I'm just wondering, for the regular consumer that wants to find out what new movie got released on demand that I could search through, what platform do you even go
Box
to?
Office Mojo.
JustWatch.com is an aggregator that connects to all of the services, even services you didn't know existed, and you can search for movies to see where they're available, either to stream, rent, or buy.
The chat room said that all at the same time.
JustWatch.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it also has a list of like, and this is what came out this week, and then you can go through it chronologically just to see, which is time consuming, honestly. But there is that resource. It's a website and an app. Just Watch.
Okay.
Is there a website or an app that will tell you which models update their OnlyFans more and who plans on extending them past vaccination periods of COVID? Because once these girls start working with mainstream companies again, we're open,
Speaking of
baby.
OnlyFans, Bad Baby just broke a record on OnlyFans. She made $1 million in 6 hours.
Whoa, by doing what?
By signing up.
She just turned 18 last month, and she released
Who's
some
Bad Baby?
Catch Me Outside.
Cash Ressa, how about that?
I thought her name was something else. I thought her. Did she have to change her name?
Remind me, who is the Catch Me Outside?
The Dr. Phil girl, Catch Me Outside. How about that?
Oh, okay. Yeah. She
It's your
turned 18.
screensaver on your computer.
That's our world. I'm like, let's talk about that. Like, how bad? This is
Bad
our world.
Baby.
Sam's all got her thumb on Bad Baby.
We live in a world where there was a
Troubled teen.
troubled teen that became famous from a Dr. Phil
For being really mean to her parents.
for being
A jerk.
like a bad kid, a little thugster. She's saying "Catch Me Outside" or whatever. Like all the
Yeah.
we're making fun of her. How old was she back then? Like 16?
16.
So that's how disgusting our world is. Like that people saw her and then when she turned 18. She made OnlyFans, which I imagine she shows nudes of. Which, by the way,
you don't have to on OnlyFans. I have an OnlyFans.
well,
You don't have to,
if she
but-
made $1 million, I'm just doing the math of probably she offered something that caused people to pay $1 million, which
I thought her name was Bad Barbie.
and then people spent $1 million of their own money in a lot of different increments.
It's
small
just the
increments.
newer version of the Olsen twins. Remember when that was popular? Everybody was like, "Oh, wait till they're 18." Oh, you sickos, you grossos.
And
Now they're 40.
and you gave her $1 million. Good for her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she made money out of a bad
So
situation.
Chris,
bad
you
on the
subscribe
rest of the
to her
world.
OnlyFans. What's it like in there?
It's lacking in content, I gotta say. I'm waiting.
You see some-
I thought that was where I was gonna go for her new single, man. I actually genuinely liked her music. I thought she had a
she's
couple
not bad.
singles that I really liked.
She's not bad.
Yeah, but you know what? You can't make $1 million off horrible hip hop.
No, you
Even if
can't.
it's a little bit okay, but they'll pay for some 18-year-old girl's nudes, which again, look at our world.
Yeah, real quick, we got a couple of more minutes. Chris, have you seen Nobody with old Odenkirk, Bob Odenkirk, who I am a massive fan of?
I saw it this weekend. I highly recommend that movie. Nobody is incredible. It's such
don't know
a
what that
fun
is.
little action movie, and Odenkirk is great.
Yeah.
He trained for 2
He
years
did.
to do this action movie. He looks fantastic. He also gets his butt kicked the whole movie, which is a lot of fun. I definitely highly recommend Nobody.
Yeah.
for
Now,
sure.
what are your thoughts on? And we'll leave with this because there has been a little bit of a rumor that John Wick camp and Nobody camp are tight, right? And they want to do a Keanu Reeves, John Wick, and a Bob Odenkirk Nobody and intermingle it so it's a crossover film where they both, because it's very similar storytelling.
It's Wiki Nobody.
And then you have a Wiki Nobody where you got because they're very likable guys, right? Odenkirk and Keanu Reeves, two of the most likable dudes. You put them both in the same movie. I could see some chemistry in that. Have you read about that?
I've definitely heard those rumors. I haven't saw an interview with Bob Odenkirk where he explained how John Wick and his character Nobody travel in different, even if it's the same universe, they would still travel in different worlds. John Wick, his world is all like high-rise towers and glass and steel suits, super sleek. Odenkirk's character lives in Ohio in the suburbs with a family. Like they're not even close to the same circles, but that would be obviously super fun. And obviously what they would do is Batman versus Superman, that where they fight each other for a while, but then they have to team up at the end to fight the big bad guy.
I hate it when like actors do that. They were like, well, in their universe, they would never. They're two different. Just say the truth. If they paid me enough, I'll do it. That's the real. Like Bob, if they paid me enough, I'll do it. I'll do anything. That's how I'm an actor. I'll do what they pay me to do if I want to do it. Sorry.
True. Well, it's awesome. I highly recommend Nobody. Super awesome.
Awesome. Well, that gives us some homework and some stuff to check up on.
Well, Chris, where can people find your podcast?
PFTmedia.com has all of our podcasts, including Cinema Crespediso. Patreon.com/Crespediso for new bonus episodes every Friday. I'm covering the Florida Film Festival this month. A lot of really cool looking stuff. So follow me online on Twitter at I am Chris Crespo. Find my TikTok, Cinema Crespediso. I'm trying to TikTok. I don't know how the kids do it so much. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, no, it is, and we don't understand it either. Like I did a TikTok. I found like I left the cameras on, and I was in here singing karaoke, and I had a snippet of that, so I threw that up there because this guy, this listener said, "You're doing it all wrong. You need to do candid behind the scenes stuff." So I'm like, sure, I tried it. He got like nothing, and I'm like, dude, there's no rhyme or reason to any of this. The one that is winning on ours is like we pranked you by just
pranks do well.
A cardboard box against the door. It's not even a good prank. It's not like he was scared. There was no poo-poo or snakes involved.
All I know is that I every once in a while I go on TikTok and I scroll through. I'm like, oh my god, the girls will you.
I'm sorry. What was that? You vetoed.
There's a lot of
bad babies
in
there's
bikinis.
A lot of stuff on TikTok that I'm like, I don't know if I should be watching this.
So I'm like, oh my god, what? Hold on.
Like this girl is DJing with her boobs out.
Yeah, but it's like it's I'm like, oh my god, you know what I'm talking about. It's there, it's everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like I live in a Ukrainian apartment complex,
and I'm not even doing. I'm just follow Tom and Dan Live. I don't even follow any of this, but I see it's all over.
Yes. Because there's no right, and you know what I don't like about TikTok? The audio starts automatically, so it's like some guy's like, "Oh, I got my big dildo here," and I'm like, "Hold on."
Yeah.
We X that out.
It's a big.
Yeah, and I'm like, can we get TikTok to not start the audio? I mean, I know I'm a dumb old man, but why do you need to go right? You don't need to shove it right into my ears immediately. I'll decide when I hit play TikTok.
All right, Chris. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. We did it.
Oh yeah.
We did it bad. It went bad.
Bye.